Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's me coming at you again with another vid. Well, this is actually a post-fight video on the Nonito Donaire versus Zsolt Bedak, Mr. Left Hook, for the WBO Junior Featherweight title or Super Bantamweight title. All I can say is one word: mismatch. Though it was a entertaining fight for only 3 rounds. Of course, Donaire pressed the action like he always does. So whenever Nonito Donaire is in a fight, you're gonna get some explosion. You are gonna get some excitement. So um, all I can say is Bedak, his nickname Mr. Left Hook. I find that kind of ironic because he was getting hooked. He was getting caught with so many left hooks against Donaire, for the course of the entire fight. Though it lasted 3 rounds, he showed very little lateral movement, and he had, he stood toe to toe, flat footed, and he just didn't have no head movement whatsoever. So that's what made him such a stationary target to Donaire. Even though he kept his chin tucked in, and whatnot, but you still, if you're not gonna move your head, if you're gonna, show a little lateral movement, you're still gonna be a stationary target. Of course, in the second round, Donaire knocked down Bedak twice in that round with left hooks. What he pressed me in most is that he was able to control the distance in this fight, able to to employ the jab a little bit more than usual, and started to body attack a bit more as well. So that's why he was able to break down Bedak. Um, then, of course, the third round is, of course, where the stoppage occurs. I mean, Bedak was getting destroyed in there. He got knocked down again. I think this time with the right. I think it was a left again. He got knocked down, but it didn't. I think he was more pushed down. By the looks of it, because I looked at that third knockdown, and to me, it looked like he was pushed down on top of the head. But Russell Moore, which is very the referee of the fight, I find this kind of ironic because this is the same guy who blatantly allowed Abner Mares to low blow Zsolt Bedak in their first fight without penalizing Mares, I believe, and then but he allowed he was warning Bedak all night with some illegal punches and whatnot. But it is what it is. He was suspended for his performance for quite some time, and then this is the same guy who also officiated the Nonito Donaire and Montel fight, where Montel was really knocked out. Was when he was knocked out by Donaire with a crushing right. When he was knocked down, I mean, Montel did come up. He did get up, but he clearly was no state to continue the fight. But Moore allowed the fight to continue, and then Donaire came in with a crushing right, and then Moore stepped in to stop the fight. So, I mean, obviously this guy is very, very competent when it comes to officiating, but I'll give credit when credit's due, because actually he did the right thing by stopping this fight with Bedak. Even though Bedak did say that he would continue, but clearly he was beaten up, and he was really going to get seriously hurt if he was allowed to continue that fight. But needless to say, Donaire is the winner. He keeps his WBO title. Now, where does he go from here? I don't know. To me, that 122 division is wearing thin. Maybe he can get a fight against Scott Quigg. Who knows? Now that the WBA title is vacant, Guillermo Rigondeaux is scheduled to fight Oscar Valdez. I believe it's Oscar Valdez. I have to check and see. He's scheduled to fight him for the vacant WBA title, and I find that kind of strange and and complex, because Rigondeaux didn't lose that title. He was rather stripped and put as a champion as recess, or installed as a champion in recess by the WBA. So now he has to fight for the title that he didn't lose. So I'm not sure that Donaire is going to want a rematch with Rigondeaux. I don't think he's going to want to take that fight. And I have to also say another thing. Donaire has always been, the bigger guy when he goes into fights with these other, since coming up from flyweight, And I think he's just really, really severely draining himself to make that 122-pound limit. And I think we know why, because after he got steamrolled by Nicholas Walters at 126, I think he's trying to stay away from that division, because you have other guys like Walters, you have, Lomachenko, you have Gary Russell Jr., you have Leo Santa Cruz, and yes, Carl Frampton, who's now moving up the weight to take a fight with Santa Cruz. So I'm not sure if Donaire really wants to stay, go up to 126 and fight the likes of those guys, especially Nicholas Walters. I don't think he would be keen on getting a rematch with him either. So, I mean, Donaire, he would have some off it. He does have some bit of options. In fact, Frampton is still the IBF champion, so at 122. So he hasn't even vacated that title. So maybe once